What's up guys, Doug. So today we're going to be talking about dry fire training, and I want to go over sort of exactly how you can actually get something out of your dry fire training rather than it just being something that you say you do but don't really feel it's necessary or beneficial to you. So if that's you, this video is for you. Today I'm working on grip consistency, grip establishment, and visual focus. I'm going to be starting talking about grip consistency. With grip consistency, what I want is I want to aggressively establish a grip out of the holster. So I want to come out to a completely built grip. And here's kind of the goal. And I got this from Joel Parks, super helpful advice. You should be able to come out of your holster at full speed. And grip consistency means that when you come out of your holster at full speed, the grip you get with that should be so good that if you were given 10 seconds to adjust your grip before you need to use the gun, you wouldn't want to change anything about it. That's how you know your grip consistency is on point. So how do we do that? Well, first we need to establish what our grip is. Of course, for me, I already have a decent idea of what I'm trying to accomplish with my grip. But once you have an idea of what your grip needs to feel like in your hands, take your strong hand away, look at only your firing hand, and then find at least 2, but preferably 3 or 4 cues for what this firing hand grip feels like. So for me, I want this knuckle, I want it more or less on the center line of the trigger guard. I want to feel pressure right here in this part of my hand. And I want to feel pressure right here, right underneath the beaver strap. I want to feel pressure build right there. If I can hit this, and this pressure point, then those are kind of 3 sights, if you will, to lock in that firing hand grip. So from the holster, I want to come to it and I want to feel exactly what I want to feel every single time. Now this one, if you see, my rotation is slightly deeper than I actually want. This is not a good grip for me. Now, would this grip work? Of course this grip would work, but that's not the point. The point is not to see if you can make something happen. The point is to get this dialed in and perfectly consistent, if you will. I want to get out of the sun, sorry guys. So the goal is to come in here super fast and aggressive and get exactly the grip you want out of the holster every single time. And you want to nitpick every single piece that isn't perfect, right? Because you're in dry fire. There's nothing else distracting you from perfection right now. You're not stressed, hopefully. You're not shooting live ammunition, hopefully. And this is your opportunity to zero in and try to chase perfection. Now, as broken men, broken women, of course, we can't achieve perfection necessarily. That was gross. But we can try, right? And that's kind of the goal. So to do this, I break it down into 2 parts. So I want to go from my, give me 1 second, I'll pause this so I can get my shot timer set up. Set with a 1/2 second par time, and my goal is to basically in the beep get where I want to be with my firing hand. That is the ultimate goal for this part of things. Okay. Okay, so on this one, it is close. It's not perfect. I came in, my target here is okay. My target here is slightly behind where I want it to be. But the real indicator that this isn't what I want, see my hand right here? Let's see. This should be like that. That's what I actually want, right? So, and that's what I mean by the level of nitpick that we want in this stuff. We're gonna do it a couple more times. Normally I wouldn't be talking all like this, but we're gonna do this probably 3 more times. Okay, that is a good grip for me. So my pressure is right where I want it to be. This knuckle is, it's a little off. It probably, if I had it perfect, it'd be about there. So that's a little off. This is where I want it to be, and that's what I want to see. Let's do that 2 more times. Okay, that's pretty good too. Same thing, coming in. Again, I'd like that to be a little deeper, but that's pretty dark. This is pretty good for me. Okay. This is, I'm gonna say that's pretty dang close to perfection for me and the way I want to grab the gun personally. All right, cool. So now we're gonna add a 1/2 second to the par time, and we're gonna get our gun out on target. And here I'm at 6 meters-ish. So what I want here, now if I was shooting live ammunition, I'd be going for a confirmation 1 all day long. But given that we're doing dry fire and where there's no shot being fired, what I'm looking for is a solid confirmation 2 edging onto 3 in 1 second. That's what I want to have. But more important than that, since I'm focusing on grip consistency, is I want to build that exact grip that I wanted out of the holster immediately. So we're still going to be doing that part from earlier, coming up and establishing that firing hand grip, drawing out of the holster, building that grip together, and presenting it out to the target. End state, have that grip exactly how we want it to be, and move on, right? Okay. So for this, I have 2 sights, so to speak. Actually, it is 3. So I want these fingers, I want these knuckles right here to be laced and pressed into on top of these knuckles here, so that in recoil, this all moves together. I want even pressure throughout this entire point of the grip, and I want upward pressure right here with my finger. So this is kind of weird, but I'm basically pushing up like this. Got that from Professor Kim also. It looks weird until you feel it, and when you feel it, you're like, oh, I get it now. Try it, it's great. Anyway, that was pretty good. My presentation was sloppy. I was focused on the spot, and I came in and my dot kind of spiraled around and then centered in about 1.1, 1.2. Not what I want to see, but that's what happened. All right. Pretty good. All right, we'll do that one more time. Yep. Okay. So keep in mind that firing hand still relevant to the conversation, right? So we want to come in and we want to have those sights still exactly how we were talking about earlier, and now we're just adding 1 point of consideration to the drill, if that makes sense. Okay? Okay. So, that one, I came in what felt like a little sloppier on my support. It didn't come together as precisely as I prefer, but the sights were all there as far as what I'm looking for. Something about it, maybe I just wasn't aggressive enough getting that hand clamped in there, or maybe it slipped in subconsciously. I'll have to watch it over. With that, what I want to do now is kind of a check on learning. I noticed that my firing hand pressure is a little bit harsher than I want it to be. I don't know, maybe 5 to 15% more pressure than I really want. The only amount of pressure I want in the firing hand grip really is just a little bit more than it takes to keep the gun and hand moving together as one unit. So what we don't, okay, so here's what we don't want. We don't want the gun moving in your hand. You want the gun and hand moving exactly as one unit. Then you want the wrist to be locked so that this all moves like this, not like this, right? So we want just enough pressure in the hand that I'll say a touch more than enough pressure so that the whole gun and hand move together and there's no slipping of the grip, if that makes sense. It shouldn't matter if you're shooting 1 round or 20 rounds. You should have this gun and hand stay together exactly. And then this hand's coming in and applying most of the pressure. And then likewise, you want to have this all move. You don't want to have this slipping off of your hand or handgun, which is why we want to have that the knuckles laced on the tops of these knuckles so that you have something for binding, right? Some basically added friction innately with the hands the way that the father made them for you. So what I want to do now is I'm going to take what we just did. I'm going to add 1 second. So we're going to go from 1.0 to 2.0, and we're going to do a dry bill. And what I'm looking for is, with how we have the gun set up, we can press the trigger multiple times. I want to make sure that I can aggressively press the trigger and have the grip perform in the way that we want it to. When that means consistent tracking and recoil, which we will not be experiencing recoil here, of course, but also consistent manipulation of the trigger without unnecessary disruption of the sights. Ideally with no disruption of the sight, right? Okay, that was terrible. Try that again. Okay. Do 2 more. That last trigger press was right on the beep. So that was like maybe 2.05, 2.1. Okay. And if we look at this, our sights, we have good pressure here. We have, more or less, we have that same knuckle placement. We have pressure where we want it to be, maybe a little bit behind where we want it to be, but we're talking 0.5 millimeter. And then this coming in and doing what we want. So I judge that as good. My dot came in left side, target right side, of course, but my left side of the alpha, and then got sucked into my point of focus on the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th round. So good stuff. Now we're going to talk about vision. So let me get the shot timer set up slightly differently. Actually, I will do this with you guys so I can show you what I'm doing. Hopefully this is... So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to the par time. I'm going to set it to 0 so that there is no par time. Then I'm going to go to the random, and I'm going to change this to instant so there's no delay. When I hit the button, it's going to set up like that. And that's how we're going to do the visual focus drill. And I am now going to try to set this up so that you can see both me and the target in the same point. Okay, while I do this, I talked about this in the visual focus drill the other day. So we're now switching from grip consistency to visual focus. We're going to start with the finger drill. We're going to finger focus. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my visual focus. I'm going to pick a tiny piece of my finger, and I'm going to focus on that. And then on the beep, I'm going to shift my vision onto this very small corner of this pasty, which you guys can't see, but I promise it's there. And what I'm going to do with my shot timer is I'm doing this by myself, obviously. So I'm going to beep it, and every time I beep it, I want to switch my vision, and I'm going to increase the speed at which I beep the beeper, forcing me to shift more aggressively my visual focus plane. All right, we're recording. Good stuff. All right. All right. Tricky to do by yourself. Not the same as having someone else do it. But how about this? If you guys are doing this along with me at home, try this. I will get you guys set up, and I will give you a beep so that you guys can at least get the benefit. I'll block the sun with my head. All right. So acquire your spot on the target, rather on your finger, positioned basically over the spot of the focus on the target, and switch focus. Switch focus. All right. And if you guys were able to do that at home, hopefully you felt what I'm talking about as far as those muscles constraining. So, okay, I didn't talk about that in this video. So what I want you to feel in this is I want you to feel your eyes focusing on your finger, and then I want you to feel the muscles in your eyes contrast as you go to focus on the far target. So that is specifically what you're trying to do, and then you want to focus on working the exercise back and forth aggressively as you do this. And the goal is to get better at rapidly focusing on a small part of the target. And then you're going to take that and you're going to transition it to targetry, doing your transitions, and then eventually in live fire tracking, basically controlling recoil with that visual focus, if that makes sense. Okay, so as you can see, I have my target set up. I have 2 targets, left, right, at about 7 yards or meters, whatever you guys want to use. And I have 1 target set up about 5 further meters away, about 12 away. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna start just using my eyeballs. I have 2 seconds, and what I'm looking for is I'm going to shift my eyes from the base of the far right target. Then I'm going to go from the base of the target to the center pasty, to the back pasty, the center target that's farther away, and then to the left side pasty. And I want to do that. I'm giving myself 2 seconds, but really it should be far before that. But what I want to do with my vision is I want to focus in on that pasty super hard, be like, yep, that's good. I kind of, in my head, I'm saying that, right? I'll say it out loud for you guys. Then I'm going to shift to the next one. Yep, that's good. Yep, that's good. And I want to do that in 2 seconds. And I need to reset my part time. That's good. That's good. That's good. All right. All right. Didn't say it out loud, sorry. That's good. That's good. That's good. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm picking individual corners of the pasties. So when you tear off the tape, you know how you get those kind of weird edges. I'm picking a corner and I'm shifting from one corner to the next corner to the next corner on each target, if that makes sense. That's good. That's good. That's good. Okay. Took me a little bit longer to get to that very last one. That's good. That's good. That's good. All right. Cool. So now that we've done that, I'm going to take the firearm. We're going to build that consistent grip just like we were earlier, but that's not the point of focus right now. Now my point of focus is I want to bring my dot on to each pasty. I'm not worrying about trigger presses or anything like that. I just want to bring the gun to that specific spot of the pasty I'm looking at. I would like for the gun to track in and the dot to come straight to my point of focus, straight to my point of focus, straight to my point of focus. Okay, so here's how I want this to go. All right. So we have 2 hands. I'm going to use this to represent the visual focus and this for the gun, okay? I'm going to have my vision come in and grab a piece of the target and the gun's going to follow. Then my vision will drive to the next target and the gun will follow. Vision then will drive to the next target and gun will follow. Now, of course, it's going to be more like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? But it's not, but I want this to happen like this, right? I don't want it to be like this. I want my vision to come in, gun to follow. Vision come in, gun to follow. Vision come in, gun to follow. The vision is controlling the presentation of the gun. That's how this works, okay? I need you guys to understand that concept. That concept is absolutely critical to doing this correctly. So I'm going to have you guys in front of me so that you guys can see, hopefully, my eyes. I'll take my hat and put it backwards so that the sun is in my eyes. This hurts, but I'll do it for you guys. Any imperfections in your glasses, by the way, when the sun's on you like it is right now, it makes it very hard to identify those small points on the target, right? But still, the exact same things apply. Even though it's harder to discern the small point, you still want to glue your eyes in on that very specific spot of the target. The fact that you can't see it very clearly does not change anything. You still want to grab a tiny, tiny piece of that target, right? Okay, so that was good confirmation 1. I did not get that perfect intersection. I'm going to pop my dot brightness up 1 piece so it's easier to discern. Okay, that was a little better, but not exactly what I'm looking for. Okay, first target was confirmation 1. The second target, much better, came in with a more proper confirmation 2. Same thing with that third target. So first one, not so good. Second 2, better. Okay, that was better. There was a little bit of movement as my gun came into target where it kind of looked like this. It kind of would come in. So if this is my point of focus, it'd kind of come in like that. It kind of whoop, 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 like that. So kind of funky, but I'll take that. That was pretty good, and it was kind of coming in and sticking. Like a tiny amount of over travel in my arms. Over travel meaning you travel your arms past the point of focus, which is not what you want. You want to look at the spot and bring your dot right to that spot like that. You don't want to whoop. You want to go right like this, not like this. Okay. Something fell apart on that first target. I don't know if I actually, I do know what it was. For whatever reason, I grabbed the top shoulder corner of that first target. That was much better. First target wasn't so good, but the second two are good. Okay. Support hand grip was not there on that one. That was good. All right. Now that we've done that, I'm going to start incorporating the trigger presses into things. So you guys, I will do 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 in the same pattern that we're doing. I'm doing 2 on each target. Okay. Last target came in. So my point of focus came in and I came Charlie Alpha like that. It was not super good. That last target was not good. Sorry about the plane. Better. I had more vertical dot movement than I would prefer to have, but the movement was pretty good. Let's try that again. Bad draw. Super sloppy trigger on that last shot, on the last 2 shots. All right. Starting to fall apart. It is like 39 degrees out here. So my hands are starting to get cold and you guys are starting to see that. Anyway, give me 1 second. All right, guys, I'm gonna add in a clip real fast. I'm gonna move the targets wider so that you can more easily discern the movement in my eyes. With the targets how they are right now, there's not a lot of visual movement for you guys to discern. So I'm going to take these targets, spread them out so that I have harsher transitions and you guys will be able to see my eyes leading the gun a little bit easier. So give me 1 second to set that up. 3 targets, all 7 yards away, spread out by a little bit more than 2 yards each target. So that is what we're gonna now be working with. Okay, that was sloppy. Let's do that better. My hands are actually getting pretty cold now. All right, on that second target, lost my dot completely. That was not good. It is very hard to see right now, as I'm not sure if you guys can see, but the sun is directly in my face. That felt better, but it's not good. It's very, very challenging to find a small spot on the target when you're more or less blind. All right, a little bit of tension snuck in. On that last transition, I used my lats to move rather than just driving with my vision. Don't do that, but I'm gonna go through with you guys and tell you everything I'm feeling. Okay, that was better. All right, I'll look at that and see if you guys can see the visual aspect better. All right, guys, so that was a pretty long video, but I wanted to put up kind of going over exactly what my dry fire routines look like. A lot of people seem to have a hard time with dry fire. I did as well for a long time, but this is one of those things. It's a core part of becoming a good shooter. A lot of us don't have the time or money to go and shoot as much as we would like to shoot, to develop the levels of competency we would like to, if we're trying to get good at this stuff. And if you happen to be walking as a believer and as a shooter, then you should require it of yourself to be exceedingly competent with the lethal tools that you carry. I don't think there's any room for good enough when it comes to lethal implements in real life. It's just not something that should ever be mixed. Good enough is the enemy of a competent marksman, a competent firearms user or carrier. It doesn't matter if you're hunting or doing it for self-defense, preparedness, whatever, doing it professionally, soldiering, or being in law enforcement. We need to do better as a culture, if you will, increasing that bottom standard. Just a belief I have. You guys don't have to hold my beliefs, but it's one I would encourage you to consider. With that, I hope you guys found this interesting. I know it's a long video, but I wanted to bring you guys through an entire dry fire session with me and kind of get an idea of what that looks like, what I'm looking for, if you guys want to take your dry fire and elevate it to another level. And maybe yours is better. If you guys have really good processes for your things, again, we're only focusing on the visual piece and the grip consistency piece here today. But let me know down below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. If you guys stuck around this long, thank you so much for the time that you've given to this video. I hope it's left you with something of value. Otherwise, you guys have a wonderful day. Shalom. Mocha, honey. Hi, baby. Hey, how's it going? This is one of our puppies. Hi, baby. Hi, honey. She's a big puppy. She's 11 months old. All right, go to mom.